the translation and interpreting options of the platform, and then I will give the word and the platform to Mr. Kattoou. So just for your information, you can choose the language you wish to listen to by clicking on the setting your language on the left side of the chat box, and then you can choose the floor, English, Spanish, and French. You can also translate the messages from the chat by clicking on translate message when you're on the message with your mouse. And then I think this is all for the interpreting and translating functions. I will now give the floor to Mr. Kattoou.
Bonjour, bonjour à toutes et à tous, je suis ravi, honoré d'être
to be here. So we are talking about the challenges of the PES in terms of accelerated digital transformation. We're faced with enormous challenges in this year, very, very difficult year. So take these changes by the hand and let's see how we can take stock of the situation today, talk about the environment, strategic directions, what is at stake, and through our various agendas, we will see if we can do a benchmarking of what the discussion will be about. So we will hear the Agence Nationale for Employment and Independent Work in cooperation with the WAPES will be amongst us. I hope that this meeting will be good for you, and don't hesitate to ask for more information and ask questions. So I'm really happy to have next to me Madame ANETI. Okay, good morning, everybody. Minister for Youth, Sports and Professional Vocational Integration, Mr. Chairman of the WAPES, Vice President of the World Association with the WAPES, Head of the region for the Middle East and United Arab Emirates. Dear partners, I wish you a warm welcome, and I would like to thank you for your presence at this event, which our agency has organized in collaboration with the WAPES and distinguished invitees. If we are meeting today, it's for an obvious reason. We would like to talk about employment. We would like to speak about tomorrow. Of course, it would be within the spirit of our meeting to listen to the various and innovative solutions in order to promote employment. By organizing this space for exchange and dialogue, we really firmly believe, and we are convinced, that your presentations will help us understand your experiences and will help us to debate and collect various points of view. Now, taking into account the very important role of WAPES in order to foster exchanges between the member countries of this association, this conference is taking place under this theme of the challenges of the PES in times of accelerated digital transformation. Now, in front of very rapid development of the socio-economic context, the change of the labor market and the changes in our target population, our ANETI committed itself to deploy programs, efforts, initiatives, and particularly tools with the sole objective of identifying innovative means that will enable us to meet the requirement and to reduce the increased pressure on the labor market in Tunisia. In a world which is more and more connected, the integration of technological developments in the PES has become a necessity and an urgency. Within this, there is a need to adapt to technological development, and of course, digitalization is very much within the context of these PES. Adapting this initiative will help users because they are expecting new technologies to be implemented in public services. The development of digitalization in employment services meets the needs of two target populations: job seekers and employers. And if you call on this technology, PES, by calling on this technology, will transform their production processes. ANETI, within the framework of its strategic development and its 2030 vision, launched a challenge in order to develop a new image and to give itself and concentrate on a qualitative approach. It wants to be an agency which is a model with high performance, which is open to the public and super connected. The digitalization of our agency will have a direct impact on the efficiency of work by allowing a considerable reduction of administrative processes and will lighten the bureaucratic burden, which is an impediment to the efficiency of our services. So we could actually dedicate ourselves to what we do best: welcoming, support, and helping project leaders. So the complete digitalization of ANETI is planned for 2022 with an integrated matching systems which is being developed, a digital laboratory regrouping all initiatives linked to the entrepreneurship spaces present in the 24 sectors of the Tunisian Republic. The need is increasing. So we already have young people who want to open up to the world of work at international level. And we want to be able to, and they want to be able to contact partner companies. And we want to partner with companies in order to have a good future recruitment. The digitalization of services and ANETI's programs support changes and the development of the needs of job seekers and companies. The access to jobs, to information will become simpler through our website or through a smartphone. Now, accompanied by lots of partners, by funders who already have committed themselves within the framework of our digital transformation, ANETI carried out a program over 3 years with a whole process fully integrating digital technologies. I would like to seize this opportunity to thank our partners, our international and national partners, for their support, for their help in the success of our transformation. So let me finish my presentation by thanking my colleagues who fully invested themselves for the success of this event. And once again, I would like to thank you for your presence. I will be here throughout this event in order to answer your questions. Thank you very much and welcome to this event organized by WAPES and ANETI. Thank you very much. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. General Director of ANETI. I would like to thank all people, everybody who contribute to the success of ANETI, of course, and today you did underline the challenges, the major challenges, have better efficiency, better quality, thanks to dedicated tools. So we are going to look at that later on, but now we give the floor to the Ministry for Youth, Sport and Vocational Integration, Sihem, the chairman of WAPES. Mr. Vice President, of WAPES, leaders of the Middle Eastern region and Arab countries, ladies and gentlemen, the general managers and heads of the PES, dear partners, I'm very happy to actually take the floor during this major meeting organized by ANETI in cooperation with WAPES, which is taking place within the framework of the operational implementation of major initiatives developed for the Ministère de la Jeunesse, Sport and Intégration Professionnelle. Our national strategies for employment and the national strategy for entrepreneurship, whose ambition is to develop an integrated approach, multidimensional, cross-cutting, covering all the levers which are likely to create quality employment and encompassing all the stakeholders. Now, ANETI is supporting these initiatives through the launch of a process of modernizing and developing a system to develop employability and to meet the challenges of unemployment based on a strategic plan over 10 years, aiming to make it a model agency which will be hyper-connected. Your presence, ladies and gentlemen, demonstrates the importance that you actually you grant the sector of employment. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to everybody around the world, because it shows that we all want to think together about these major issues of development and particularly employment. The issue of employment, of economic growth remain a priority and a major challenge at international level. It is within this framework that we have the initiative of the WAPES, which we would like to salute for the development of PES in various continents and to challenge and to actually meet the challenges of employment everywhere. The objective of this meeting is to contribute to a debate around the efforts of modernization and of digitalization through used by the PES in order to succeed in the digital transformation. Indeed, in a world which is more and more connected, digital is becoming the norm, a very important component, an expected component of all the supply for PES. We no longer have a choice. We become digital or we disappear. The digital sphere is at a crossroad of social, economic dimensions in our territory and in our lives. It concerns all sectors, and that's why it is a particularly powerful shared lever for everyone. A powerful lever because digital enables us to look into the challenges related to PES for today and tomorrow. Customers for PES have also changed. There is web, there is new consumer forms, internet, and all sorts of networks which enable them to share, recommend a service, and it changes the strategy. Speed, instantaneous results. These are the terms that describe the new generation, which is used to web and social networks without ever disconnecting. It is an opportunity which we need to seize, challenge which we need to meet. We have to support this transformation because we are confronted with a real revolution, technological revolution. We must not leave the human side and we must remember the interdependence dependency that exists at world level in order to accelerate the progress in humanity, to reduce the digital fracture, and to give birth to knowledge societies. The PES must strive to better collaborate, better cooperate, and find better ways to meet the needs of citizens. In order to meet these challenges, such an assembly is necessary to build our transformation in order to have a high performance administration at the service of development and the citizen itself or himself. The acceleration of digital transformation still depends on the cooperation of all public sectors and private actors. We need to strengthen the legal framework. We need to implement the principle of digitalization and ensure good governance. We need to develop the capacities of human resources. These are the key to succeed in this transformation in order to propose practical information, give practical advice to our citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, I remain convinced that during this meeting, this exchange, this interactive discussion, we will be able to present and to discuss numerous operational digital plans and programs for the good of our organizations. Now, modernizing PES, improve the participation in public life, boost economic development through a better availability and better circulation of information, develop information technology, set up a digital economy. These are all of the engines of success, and it is through this these optimistic words and hope that I would like to finish. I thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening to me, and I wish you all success during this event. Thank you, dear Minister. Thank you for this exhaustive speech. You covered quite a wide spectrum of tools, possibilities, systemic change, major transformation of the organization thanks to this digitalization which will bring us more agility, more suppleness for a more efficient system which will really meet the needs of people. Homeworking and digitalization are already underway. We've seen it through the pandemic, but it is also a platform to continue. I have the pleasure and the honor to have next to me Thierry, who is a consultant in WAPES, who's worked an awful lot on this event. Bonjour, Thierry. Hello, Thierry. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Mehdi. I would like to take the floor very quickly, and then I'll give it back to you because we are waiting impatiently for the presentations of our guests. I would like to say simply that there will be a Q&A session after the 3 presentations. So you have on the side of your screen a little space saying ask questions. So please do not hesitate to ask questions, and I will certainly communicate them to the speakers. So thank you very much. Mr. Kattou, I'll give you back the floor. Thank you very much, Thierry. Sorry, the interpreter apologizes. It's very difficult to hear this gentleman. So the speakers will give you more information, and we would like to thank you for your interest and your confidence. As you said, the second part of this meeting is dedicated to presentations. This presentation will highlight the various aspects of this digital transformation of the PES. We'll start with Madame Zulum AVILA, who is a technical officer in Labour Market Services Employment Policy Department of the International Labour Organization. You have the floor, Madame Avila.
Thank you very much to the organizers, the ANETI agency, and also to the WAPES network for the invitation. I'm very pleased to join from Geneva and contribute to this relevant and important discussion. Well, across all ILO regions, employment is one of the most critical areas of public services needing better digital capabilities. And well, supported by the WAPES network and in particular by the ANETI agency also, we run a survey in 2020 to find out more about digital transformation of PES. So in the next 15 minutes, I will take you through the main findings. I don't have to forget to move the slides too. Well, why we decided to run this survey? Well, first of all, job searching and recruitment methods are evolving and going digital everywhere. This change, however, is not taking place overnight. We have seen several trends in how technology is increasingly influencing the way PES interact with job seekers and employers over the last 2 decades already. Online services for job matching, call centers with reduced waiting times, and customized treatment supported also by machine learning are all out there. The ILO survey explores in particularly the extent of this PES technological transformation and its increasing relevance with the COVID-19 pandemic and crisis in the job market. So I would like to first define what we understand by technology in this survey. Well, technology is basically understood as an enabler to effective delivery of employment services. As shown in the screen, we inquire about a wide spectrum of technologies, from traditional toll-free numbers, SMS, and mobile applications to online and social networks and analytical technologies. While this can be seen as moving from simple to sophisticated technology, we found out that the technological transformation of PES is neither a linear process nor one that occurs in the same manner in different contexts and different countries. Well, we kind of got responses back from 70 public employment services in 69 countries across all ILO regions. And they say that all of them provide online basic services such as information on open vacancies and clients registration for job matching and other services. Even in developing countries where digital networks are still poorly developed, mobile connectivity is already the main gateway to the web and to job search services. Also, 1/3 of the survey respondents are already offering artificial intelligence driven solutions to job seekers and employers. We also found that 27% of respondent PES rely on technology-based approaches, while 52% use digital technology only for delivering selected services. And well, there is indeed a clear trend towards service digitalization. However, we found out also that mixed approaches predominate. Face-to-face services were maintained even in countries adopting digital-first policies to safeguard equal access to clients with low digital literacy. And well, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic has reinforced this trend and is likely to continue beyond the crisis and will be very important also during the recovery. I think that is not, yes, it's not basic. Well, also, we asked PES how they are seeing technology, and they responded that for them, technology is primarily a vehicle to increase performance and expand service coverage. PES in low and middle income economies consider this as the most important driver for technology adoption. Changes in clients' behavior and expectations are another critical factor accelerating the shift towards digital services, particularly in advanced economies where improving clients' experience in accessing services is quickly developing. Reducing operational cost is also important for PES, but was not the main policy driver in the majority of them. Results from the survey also reveal that delivering complex services, such as those requiring by video or more interaction between the client and the PES, for example, counseling, case management, and self-assessments, are provided by nearly 3/4 of the surveyed PES. These services, however, need bandwidth-intensive tools and are less likely to be readily available in low and middle income countries. And well, not everywhere job seekers and employers are experiencing remote access to public employment services in the same way. Overall, indeed, there is a reduced need for clients to be physically present. I have to change the slide, sorry, getting that. Sorry for that. Overall, there is a reduced need for clients to be physically present in the PES premises to access most services in a two-way interaction mode, meaning accessing information remotely or supported over the phone, SMS, and by email services. Clients from high-income countries are more likely to access proactive and individualized digital solutions. Going digital also represents a great opportunity for public employment services to automate administrative and repetitive tasks. Technology in that way can be considered as a time multiplier that frees time up from staff to focus on clients who need enhanced and personalized support to overcome complex barriers to employment. While technology offers new possibilities, the digital divide makes disparities persist for some groups. In half of the survey PES, the delivery of services through technology-based channels remain low for women as single parents, migrants, minorities, and indigenous people. Acquiring technology is not enough for PES. They need to understand also the barriers different groups of the job seekers are facing to leverage the potential that technology offers and ensure equal access for all clients. Artificial intelligence is based in the use of algorithms capable to identify, classify, and predict patterns within massive amounts of data. Artificial intelligence is everywhere. Still, when it comes to job matching, its use is still narrow. Only 1/3 of the PES participating in this global survey have introduced artificial intelligence technologies. Most of them are in high-income countries. Middle-income countries are still catching up, but quality of data is a major barrier. Experts predict that in 15 years' time, artificial intelligence will be widespread and will change in a deep manner our society and therefore the labor market. I would like to throw here a question. Are PES developing the right capabilities today? The survey found three major gaps in core capabilities that PES need to develop further to expand use of digital technologies and artificial intelligence. A major challenge is the need to upskilling staff more frequently. Clients also lack digital skills and the devices to access advanced digital technology service, especially in low-income countries. Challenges also remain in contingency planning to quickly restore services in case of cyber attacks and data losses. So, looking into the future, how PES need to prepare for the next era with a digital by default focus. PES will need to invest in preparing staff with digital skills and in deepening collaboration across service providers to interconnect data sets when this is possible. Data analytics is an area where artificial intelligence can have a paradigm changing for PES, allowing for evidence-based decisions, reduce responses times, and also more accurate targeting and hopefully also matching. Artificial intelligence systems are data hungry, and one option that deserves further exploration for policy making, especially in developing countries, is the use of non-traditional data sets. And here the World Bank has been experiencing a little bit on that in association with LinkedIn. There is also a need for careful thinking about what the ethical issues are with these technologies being used in the wild, with no regulation. Data has become the new black gold. As more personal data is captured with digital services and artificial intelligence is able to extrapolate more details about clients, both job seekers and employers, everyone is more vulnerable. PES need to uphold to the values of data privacy, inclusion, non-discrimination when developing and implementing advanced technology services. PES taking part of this global survey also said that placing clients at the center of technological transformations offer public employment services an opportunity to win over new clients, provided that services are easy to access, safe, and as intuitive as possible. Finally, technology adoption also needs alignment with overall PES strategy. And here I would like just to leave another message for further reflection. The PES digital transformation will see a paradigm shift from efficient delivery and accessing and expanding access to services to transformational efficiency and productivity. However, PES will need to sustain investment in creating and maintaining new service delivery capacities. So technology is indeed an enabler, but not a solution per se. So thank you very much for this opportunity of sharing the findings of our global survey. If more information can be downloaded from the link that is appearing in the screen, and also you can touch base with us through the email appearing there. Thank you so much. It is over to the moderator. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Zulum AVILA.
Well, thank you very much for this presentation and for the very relevant issues that you have raised about the future of this technological transformation. And of course, it is something that will be ongoing. We will talk about the need to adapt services and to use the tool as an inclusion tool that should also always be available to optimize the services offered to human beings. Now we're going to talk about ANETI's digital transformation and the 2030 vision. And we're going to start with Mr. Michel SEBBANE, expert commissioned by the World Bank, Deloitte France, followed by Mr. Fadhel BERHOUMA, Information Systems Director at ANETI. So he'll talk to us about internal development issues and the strategic actions that need to be taken and the preconditions that are necessary for all this to happen. And so we start with Monsieur Michel SEBBANE. You have the floor. Hello.
Eh bien, du coup, enchanté et je vous remercie beaucoup de me donner l'occasion de partager avec vous plutôt un retour d'expérience. Et bonjour, monsieur Fadhel BERHOUMA. Partager l'expérience, du coup, relativement à la transformation digitale au travers, à ma foi, de Pôle emploi comment dire, en France. J'ai un deuxième souci, excusez-moi, de passage des slides. Donc là, j'avoue que je crois que je vais parler de manière spontanée, qui de toute façon n'est pas trop gênant. Donc, pour rappeler un petit peu le contexte de la façon dont tout ça s'est présenté, Pôle emploi, c'est créé, qui est très jeune, puisqu'il s'est créé et
created about 12 years ago, and very quickly we were creating an establishment while at the same time boosting digital activities. So very quickly we wondered what could be done and what would happen in future. A few recurring thoughts, first of all, to think about how technology and digital transformation was going to create value with offers of new services for companies and job seekers. So the idea was not only to move the existing services linked to unemployment indemnities, but to create new services to enable the technology. And in terms of what could do to simplify procedures and to be more efficient. And so it's not technology for technology's sake, but technology as a service truly perceived by those who need it. So we've moved forward quite considerably, and of course we can always do better, but I would say that we are currently fully working on the internet and with applications, and we are working on artificial intelligence issues that enables us to best help companies and job seekers. But also in terms of the job seekers, yes, this is the page I was seeking. And so this is to explain, how we created this platform with the ANPI and the ACEDIC, which was the social security arm of unemployment, and helped job seekers. And so the idea was to show various information systems that we used in order to move to a single information system for job seekers and companies. And this was duplicated on internet If we can now move to the next page. In terms of digital topics, this is at the heart of what we do, and very modestly I can give you my own experience. We need to remember that we were talking when it started in 2008, so over a dozen years several activities were carried out through the improvements of the quality of service, first of all, the quality of the service perceived by the companies or job seekers who need a job, and that quality of service needed to be improved considerably via the digital transformation. That still remains the case today. And the second point here is the modernization of the relationship with employers and job seekers. And of course, everything that digital services render possible, the historization of relationships, the effectiveness of the services provided, rapid service and interactions, and so on. And when we talk about an effective service, we're talking about the right service offered at the right time, offered to the right person. And when we talk about multi-channels, we need to remember what digital can offer. We need to accelerate the interactions and access to the services and increase the added value of contacts. Without dehumanizing the relationship. So we need to automate, to robotize, yes, to digitalize, historize, and so on, but only in order to improve the human relationship, which is essential in what we do. When we help to find people, find a job, we should never forget that human dimension. Without reducing the number of services offered, but quite to the contrary, by trying to personalize the services offered, be they to job seekers or companies themselves, and without limiting the support to those who need it most. And this is our leitmotif, I would say, with all the problems that we can encounter with digitalization, digital access, because there are certain areas, of course, that need to be helped more than others, where digital access is not easy. And certainly, structurally, we need to help job seekers. We can now perhaps move to the next page. So this is how I wished to conclude, in fact, because I'm going to give the floor now to my colleague, Mr. Fadhel BERHOUMA, and I would like to thank you for your attention, in spite of the few technical problems that we had. Thank you. Well, thank you for this presentation. As you suggested, we are going to move to Mr. Fadhel BERHOUMA, who is going to talk about the needs, the environment, constraints, the strategic goals. We're going to talk about schedules as well, and the different targets. And once again, I would like to remind us that Mr. Fadhel BERHOUMA is from ANETI. Well, thank you. First of all, I would like to introduce you to ANETI's current system, and I'm going to go into the detail of digital transformation, which started developing its information system and was one of the first public institutions to do so at the beginning of the 1990s, and it has continued to develop until today. First of all, we started with business applications. We looked at all questions linked to employment, entrepreneurship, and also in 1998 we developed a system of indicators providing access to employment, and this was updated on a daily basis. And also we launched a national website in 1998, revised in 2005, for job seekers and companies. And we also for employers were able to take into account all their requests and to be able to match jobs to the employment offered. We also had an intranet system which was developed in 2005 and updated in 2015, and an international website in 2015, revised in 2020, which is oriented toward international employers and job seekers and those wishing to work abroad. And apart from this system, we have many platforms, an SMS platform, another one which enables us to exchange with our clients, and also a Tunisian repository of trades and skills representing the employment market in Tunisia with 512 files in 14 main areas with 11,000 skills in the repository. We've also launched web services linked to other public structures in order to simplify all administrative procedures for our citizens. And this includes the social security services, the IT National Center, and in order to prepare for our vision of 2030, we carried out surveys with 500,000 job seekers, and I know we don't have much time, so I'm not going to go into detail about the results. But overall, I would say that these results, the results of the survey, shows that there are problems in terms of efficiency. The efficiency of the ANETI services offered. Job seekers said that there needed to be reforms in the system, that there should be a better quality of service offered, a better accompaniment. But for companies themselves, it's quite the opposite. Companies, after the survey realized with the companies in 2020, well, we realized that the heads of companies absolutely need digitalization. And although we are class number one in terms of public institutions, in terms of efficiency, of responsiveness, and so on, nevertheless, there are areas in which we need to improve on, and this we should attempt to do as quickly as possible. In terms of ANETI's challenges, well, there are several internal and external challenges with which we are confronted to promote employment within our country. On the governance side, there's a lack of stability and visibility. The economic and social context is rather difficult. The employment market is changing very quickly and does need new skills. Bureaucracy, as has been mentioned, which is quite discouraging, engenders a loss of efficiency and productivity and a waste of time, and it tends to demotivate our customers and our staff. And of course, the system bureaucracy renders the whole thing very complex. And we can say that 7.5 million inhabitants are connected to the internet and social media, which means that we need to be very present on multiple channels. And without forgetting, of course, human resources, which are very important within any company. And it is crucial to develop an HR policy in order to help slow down any demotivation of the staff, and to be able to help our colleagues through these times of cultural change, technological change. So we need to accompany this move towards a greater digital transformation. And in order to succeed with our digital transformation, and in synergy with the national plan for our country, we have defined at ANETI several objectives. There's to strengthen and modernize the agency's intervention in the labor market, to enhance current online services with new solutions centered on users' needs and applying the multi-channel approach. Also developing an internal knowledge management system to promote a collective intelligence. So we need to develop such a system to promote a collective intelligence. And of course, we need to have the tools necessary to be more transparent and to make sure that there is more participation to collective life by our citizens. We've also looked at several components around three main themes. First of all, for job seekers, companies, project leaders, associations and partners, there is another component focused on skills and careers, on core businesses and enhancing innovation. And there are other components that are linked on process mapping, cost reduction and decision support. And so we need to develop all these tools. Now, in terms of the components that are geared towards the users, well, we are going to develop a combined system, a monitoring and statistical profiling system that takes into account several inputs to be able to target the job seekers over the long term. And it is a system that will enable us to help those job seekers depending on the situation of an individual job seeker and the profile of the job seeker. Also, our website portal will be recast. It's judged to be somewhat too complicated and overloaded at the moment. And so we have different pages for job seekers, companies, and partners. This website portal should also include an AI-based matching system, the profile of the job seeker and what he wishes to accomplish in his or her career. This will be linked. And this will include the future needs, also based on the recruitment campaigns of companies. Also, e-learning platforms, a platform also for e-participation and e-petition. Also, open data, which is a platform that will enable us to be more transparent in terms of the data of our users. And also an ANETI exhibition, which will offer users the tools in order to know what it is that we are offering, what services we offer. Also an electronic files management system, notification system for MSS, SMS, mailing and so on, and a chat box also, which will be based on machine learning and artificial intelligence. This is something that has been asked for our systems, and also mobile applications and job fairs, which will be launched on this website portal. And this will enable us to make sure that we can organize events, sectorial, regional events, and it will be a space.
Et les recruteurs. Pour les composantes axées sur destinées aux personnes de ANETI, nous avons
We will have a digital place, also a development of our intranet, a wiki employment knowledge-based platform. This digital workplace would encourage best practices, will offer an internal skills bank. And all these platforms will enable us to improve and to strengthen the skills of our colleagues and clients. And this should enable us to create also new skills, a participatory innovation platform, a corporate social network, as well as a digital library. And I have to say that this represents a great potential for innovation. And we can finish off those components which are linked to decision-making, functional mapping of processes, electronic platforms, decision-making support system, and a virtual job agency, which will be an interactive platform in order to be closer to our customers. And this would mean that we wouldn't need to create employment offices in remote areas, since all this would be centralized. Now, of course, all these projects are only possible thanks to our partners. So the World Bank, the European Union, the Deutsche Zusammenarbeit, the African Development Bank, and Mubadirun will help us financially, of course, but they will accompany us in this need for us to change. So thank you very much. Well, thank you. So thank you very much to Fadhel BERHOUMA. We've listened to two presentations which provide a very good view of what ANETI does, and it is based on this 2030 vision, and the fact that this could be integrated within a product that is global, which requires more services, more integration. And we will come back to this a little bit later. Through questions, of course, that you will be able to ask, and through the chat, of course, you'll be able to ask questions, and we will be delighted to answer a little later after the fourth and last presentation. We were speaking about this earlier, the benchmarking, which is essential. What are the good practices? How can these good practices be implemented? This is essential. And this is why we are now going to move to Estonia. We're going to speak of the implementation of a tool that has an impact on the labor market. And we're going to look at the Estonian experience. And it is Marie Valli that we are going to listen to, who is an advisor at the Development Department's Estonian Unemployment Insurance Fund. So you have the floor.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Yes, like the moderator said, the previous presentations were talking about the very general issues, and now we're moving from general to specific, and going to talk about a very special tool which is applying an automated impact evaluation on active labor market measures in Estonian Unemployment Insurance Fund. My name is Mari Väli. I work as an advisor, and although this tool maybe um, seems to be a very technical and maybe a bit scientific tool, but I'm going to talk about it from a user's perspective, just to be clear. So just about the background, um, Estonian Unemployment Insurance Fund is a relatively small organization, as all Estonia is a small organization. And on this slide, you can see the red line, which is remarking the unemployment rate over past 5 years. Then the green area is about the budget that we are spending on active labor market measures. And the blue columns, they represent the numbers of participants in these active labor market measures. And of course, the year 2021 is a forecast, so the numbers are not clear yet. And as you see, we have been spending increasing amounts on active labor market measures over the years, but so far we haven't systematically assessed the impact of these measures. And as time goes forward, it's more and more important to actually see the result and the impact of the measures provided to our clients. So now a bit about the inevitable preconditions to have such a tool in place. First of all, and this is something that actually was also present in the ILO's presentation, the very maybe the most important precondition here is the availability of detailed data. And the data has to be there in a well accessible format, both for the unemployed and also those people who are already employed. So we in Estonia, we are using a data warehouse. And of course, our benefit is that we have an overall good developed infrastructure for data exchange between our organization and other state registers. This is very important to have an quite real-time data exchange for the tool. Then, of course, it's important to have an in-depth analytical competence to build up the tool. And it can be both an in-house competence or outsourced from universities. And this is actually a combination that we have used. We have a good, strong analysts in our analysis department, but also we have used the competence of Estonian best labor market policy researchers from University of Tartu. Then there has to be a certain technical preparedness, and although the infrastructure for service provision and these operational information systems are in place, I suppose, in most of the PES, if not in all, then for a tool to impact for this impact assessment, you still have to have some dedicated infrastructure as well. But of course, it's possible always to set it up in case the need comes. And then last but not least of the preconditions is the demand from the service owners. And by service owners, I mean the people who are responsible for the service design and the provision and the results. They have to be there to say their word, what they want this tool to be doing and how it will be of help to them. And only then we can move to actually developing a tool and using a tool. And the only slide about the methodology says that our impact assessment tool uses propensity score matching and exact matching combined with the regression adjustment to evaluate the effects of labor market programs. And to put it in another words, we compare the participants of active labor market measures with similar persons who didn't participate, and compare them and assess the outcomes, which show then the effects of a specific labor market service to the probability of being employed, or the level of wages from 1 to 24 months after participating in the measures. So the important thing here is that we compare the comparable groups. And then a bit more in detail, what exactly are we doing with the tool? So the labor market measures that we are assessing are work practice, wage subsidy, labor market training, and work rehabilitation. And while assessing labor market training, we have some subgroups here. We assess separately general skills training, Estonian language courses, different ICT skills, and also vocational training. So these are the biggest, in the meaning that the number of participants is the highest, and also they have quite a direct outcome to labor market. So these are the criteria why we chose these specific labor market programs for the assessment. Then there are the background variables. There are plenty of them, and all these, like gender, age, education level, region where the person lives, previous unemployment data, and so on, they help us to actually compare the people and make the comparison between the participants and non-participants. And the outcomes I mentioned already. So we assess the impact of these labor market measures up here to the probability of employment, to the wages, and to the wages in case a person is employed. Then just a quick overview of how the data is actually moving in order to have these assessments in place. So the first step is that there are the operational information systems where the data is fed in by the counselors or services developers. And then the data from the operational information system is moving to the data warehouse. Then the next step is that the data that is necessary for the impact evaluation tool is moving to the so-called training server, which is a technical machine or tool using the software called R, which is a statistical and analytical software. And this R tool then makes the preparations for the impact assessment tables. So he basically forms the groups that we want to compare, and when a person finally wants to see the results of this the tool has provided, then the person can see it in a Tableau dashboard in the very own desktop. And there are plenty of options how to filter and present the data, and I will show you this in a second. Just an example then about the dashboard that this service people responsible for the services can see in their desktops. You can see the orange and blue lines here that represent the impact in comparison. So the orange one is the outcomes of the participants, and the blue ones are non-participants. And a person can actually then make some filtering here. I'm sorry that the slides are a bit vague and so small, but basically a person can, for example, here on this upper line of the pictures, you can see that there are parts of Estonia. That means that there is a filter that has divided the results by region, and you can see that the vocational training, that is the selected labor market service, has a better impact or bigger impact in other parts of Estonia, and not doing so well in northern Estonia. And on these lower pictures, you can see the same division, but not by region, but by education level. And maybe it's then possible to say that the impact of vocational training is better or is bigger for those people who have lower education levels compared to those whose education is higher. But these are the very first and preliminary results that need to be still thought about. We have had some limitations, and mainly because our size. We are a small country. The absolute numbers of participants in all these measures are quite small, and if you want to go into details by these subgroups and filters, the participants groups are too small to give actually trustworthy results. So the error rate becomes too high, and the results are not they can't be trusted. And another limitation that we have had is that at first place our labor market counselors expected to get a more personalized tool to suggest certain suitable labor market programs for their clients, but due to the first limitation we have, it can't be done because the error rate grows to enormous levels, and it's just not helping anybody. And finally, about the next steps that we are going to have with the tool. So, of course, as I didn't mention it before, we only actually introduced the results to the users, to the people responsible for the service design a few weeks ago. So it is quite a new initiative, and we will now start piloting and adopting this tool to our business processes. Then, in order this tool to give good and relevant results, we have to regularly update the data. Of course, we are seeking for possibilities to get even more labor market services into this tool, and we are trying to find ways how to overcome the problems of small participants numbers in order to be to assess more labor market measures in such a quick and user-friendly way. Then we are working already on the automated cost-benefit analysis of these programs as well. And finally, of course, which is also one of the most important purposes of the tool, is actually to adjust the targeting and provision of these measures based on these outcomes from the tool, because this tool gives us more information on how different measures work on different target groups. And this is something that we are going to do in the next months and years, probably. And this is all from my side. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And that's all.
Merci beaucoup pour cette présentation,
Well, thank
cette analogie
you very much for this
et l'accès
experience,
en évoquant
processing, its analysis, and in terms of data, we are going to go into the Q&A. In fact, the first one is to you, Mrs. Valli. How are you going to manage the need for detailed information, big data, which is necessary for the profiling tool and the matching for AI?
in this tool, we are only using actually, mostly administrative data that we have ourselves and from other registers and some general statistics about the overall situation in labor market. We are not thinking of having a big data approach regarding this tool. But the statistical profiling tool is actually a separate tool we kind of also use, and the matching is done with an AI also in Estonia, but they are three separate tools, I would say.
Trois outils séparés, mais est-ce que l'un ou l'autre,
Okay, there
justement, de
tools, but can one function without one or two components of those three? Can they they are separate tools. They are separate tools, but can they function one without the other? I wanted to say, you talked about three components, three distinct tools. So the prerequisite would have to have the three with some complementarity, or can each component be a standalone tool that can work as a standalone?
Tools, and they can stand alone and work autonomously.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, Marie-Valie.
Thank you very much, Marie-Valie. We have an awful lot of people who want to ask questions, but there are more remarks than questions which are being formulated. So there were 4 successive presentations. We started with Madame Zulum of the ILO. Then we talked about methodologies and changing markets, developing markets, and the tools which should support these changes and these developments. And then what choice, what strategy, what tool should be used in order not to make a mistake and not use the right tool to match the right needs. Then there is, of course, the issue of anticipation. Jobs are going to change. The market is changing. How do you develop efficient strategies to that effect? And then we talked about the stock taken, the current situation, the strategic angles, the timetable to come in terms of implementation, of execution of all those programs, and the relationship with different targets. And let's not forget that we always concentrate on the recipients, whether it is internally or outside, the job seeker particularly, and the prerequisites which support any change. So change partners are such that a change cannot be led by just one entity. It's not possible. You need cooperation. And then we go back to the question in Tunisia. I will invite the director of IT system of ANETI in order to answer the question which was directed to Marie-Valie, namely detailed management of big data which are necessary for the profiling tool and AI. Right. We wanted to implement these tools because we wanted to concentrate on ANETI and the programs of ANETI, but we also wanted to have support data and external data in order to actually set up a national employment system from data coming from other organizations. Which participate in employment, in the world of employment, vocational training, schools, central bank, further education institutes. So we have about 14 data sources from various structures in order to have a system which would enable us to streamline decision making, rationalize decision making, and we will be able to make forecast in long term and the short term. And what are the data that Tunisia is going to have in order to have a real compass, a real dashboard? Well, from this particular system, following the recast of our IT system, we are going to build our data warehouse, and at the end of the day, we will be able to propose and make available on our web portal all these data in a transparent manner for all researchers, analysts, students, so that they have all the information necessary to be able to make their assessments. Thank you very much. Thank you for clarifying this. Let's go back to Estonia. Miss Marivali again, with a question concerning costs, of course, because, besides the implementation of this tool, we need to know how much it will cost and also what the timeline would be, in terms of implementation of the system.
I'm not sure whether the question was about the cost of the tool or the cost of the labor market measures.
Du coût de l'outil, pour être fidèle à la question, elle n'est pas mienne la question.
We're talking about the cost of the tool. We want to know the cost of the tool here. So how much did it cost? How much did the implementation of this tool cost? And how long did it take? That's the question.
Thank you. The development of the tool took almost 2 years. It was quite a longsome task to think it all thoroughly through. But I'm afraid I can't say the cost. We haven't calculated in a manner like that. Maybe this is a good hint for us. We could do it. We should do it, but we can't say it right now.
Je le comprends et je le conçois.
I totally understand. I can understand what you mean. This cost will be amortized, of course, in view and in light of the efficiency of this tool. Thank you very much for being amongst us, Mrs. Valli. Thank you for all the presentations. Now we are going to go to Morocco to meet Mr. Ademoun Matali, who is the chairman of the WAPES, but is also general director of the National Agency for Employment and Skills. Okay, it's the equivalent, the Moroccan equivalent of ANETI. So I'm really, really pleased to have you amongst us, and you have the floor. Mr. El Madani, you are not with us. Okay, we are going to summarize what was said today. First of all, the motivation, the reason why we organized this seminar. What are the challenges in a world of digital transformation? I think it was an essential meeting. It is something that is important because the PES are confronted every day to changes. But we're talking about a worldwide operation here. Digitalization is not just a whim. It is something that's happening constantly, and we need to use all our levers to improve services. In Tunisia, you raised an issue which was very interesting. We were talking about digitalization on the one hand, and the quality of hosting, of welcoming. So you could can actually remove the congestion in terms of welcoming and the welcoming services. So digitalization does facilitate welcome. It's something that really covers all services and all offers that ANETI would offer, or other public services, other public employment services. So today, this is the receptacle of all the services which must lead to education, economy, etc. And that's why it's efficiency is a prerequisite. So data concentrate on employment, and agility, flexibility are really fundamental today. And that's why we raised this issue earlier on, the issue of the continual evolution and developments. So this investment continues. We were talking about systemic changes, the change of a mindset alongside a change of tools and technologies that we can rely on. So the empowerment of the user is also there at the center of the debate. And this is how we will be more efficient. So let's go back and try Mr. Almadiani again. Let's hope we can find him. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me? Well, we can hear you very well. So we are going to try and sum up what was said and close in the best way possible this webinar, the initiative of the Agence Nationale pour l'Emploi and the analytic work that's been done in cooperation with WAPES, which you represent today. It's the same fight, it's the same universal battle for human dignity and for more efficiency, for better services. And you actually carrying the flag of these services today. So we can hear you properly, and you have the floor for the closing speech. Well, first of all, on behalf of our association, I would like to thank Maniti, the Director General of ANETI. Thank you very much for taking the initiative to organize this very enriching event, very positive event on a topic which is very topical. We talk about digital, we talk about PES, and of course we are right in the middle of two major components of the employment market. You have job seekers and the human resources users, on the other hand, the companies themselves, and both of them are in a situation which is such that today, under the pressure of this crisis, which we've not come out, out of which we've not come out yet, in order to, we hope that this, that we'll be able to get out of this crisis as quickly as possible. But this crisis gave more value to digital. Yeah, we must recognize it. Humanity has been condemned to observe distancing, to avoid contacts. And when direct contact is no longer possible, contact via digital is the best alternative. And our job, our very job in PES is to be an intermediary, is to be a mediator and a connector, public connector, active connector on the labor market. It's supporting job seekers for a better economic insertion. Well, what we do, our actions which are public actions, cannot be imagined without a presence, a palpable presence of the components of the operations. So, if for the whole world digitalization is an alternative to some operational processes, in terms of the PES, well, it was presented as an added value, something that could be added to the all the PES around the world. The option of PES for digitalization, for an upgrade of their information system, for a transformation of their digital system was not an option to start from scratch on the expertise capital that exists. That is something that already exists. This is something that is an added value. It capitalizes on all the existing capacities in the PES, for example, in terms of their prerogative. This situation enabled us to realize quite a few things that we wanted to do face to face. But that can be done. We realize that it can be done differently with just as much efficiency. And it enables us to actually realize and implement quite a few elements of PES. We know that the PES are, in essence, public services, and they are really, and to be really public, it must be, these services must have universal actions. And if we cannot be universal in the PES, then the digital tool can help towards being universal. And it's the same for the idea of proximity. A public service is not a public service if it is not actually carried out close to its users. And physical proximity is important. We are aware of it, particularly in the countries of our area, Tunisia, Morocco, and all countries of the region. And the mobilization of human resources is not always doable. Sometimes, so the cost of PES must be controlled, but of course there is tightening of public resources everywhere, particularly in our region. So digital is a solution to all of this, and it's the same for the central character of PES. We're talking about inclusivity. It is a system that opens its arms to all categories. It is inclusive of all categories of people and all territories. And of course, in our usual practices, this objective is not possibly well appreciated by our environment. At times, people felt that we didn't really reach deeply. On certain territories, we were not strong enough, but it is a tool now that can only be efficient if we use it to really foster our identity as PES. Now, on the other hand, the users, employers, and job seekers, the people who use our services, and particularly companies, employers, where the job offers comes from, well, these people are living through major mutations, major changes, where the digital component is beginning to influence the way one actually develops the human contribution in the context of production. So our way of doing things, the active measures that we have and that we manage for our governments, we must highlight the importance of digital in the production processes for economic operators. So, PES should be revisited in that way as to what they really do. Now, what is obvious today, of course, is the importance of the priority, the repositioning of digitalization within all our other priorities, the upgrading priorities and the strategic vision in general. So I would like to congratulate ANETI for the innovation that it constantly brings to the table. The experiences which have been shared today are a witness to the enthusiasm and the liveliness of the region. Our association has one mission, which is to facilitate the exchange of experience in order for us all to capitalize on the results and elaborate solutions together, develop together solutions for the regions to which we belong. So it has been a very fruitful event. I would like to thank all speakers. I would like to thank our Brussels Secretariat. I would like to thank the executive team and for organizing this event. We are still living difficult times. We are we're still waiting for face-to-face meetings, and we really are dying to meet face-to-face as we did before. The General Director, ANETI, is someone we haven't met directly face-to-face. I hope we will have the honor of meeting her very soon. And as a conclusion, from what I gathered, and I can summarize thus. From what I gathered and from the presentations which were made, there was a wealth of information, a wealth of details, and our members, the PES, will start thinking about these issues, whatever the technological maturity level. What the crisis taught us is that, of course, the world is not on an equal footing in terms of technology. And, of course, the PES, members of WAPES, are not the mirror of the reality throughout the world. We see there are disparities between countries, and of course they can be found as well in PES. But whatever the level of technological maturity in our organizations, we are at various degrees today, but we are still committed. We are committed within this transformation, this digitalization transformation movement. We are all in agreement with this, and all the events which happened since the beginning of this pandemic, testify of the involvement of all participants and the desire, the wish to really follow this digital transformation. Of course, it's accelerated by the effects of the pandemic, as I said before, but it enables us, if it's still necessary to remind us of this, it shows us the strength and the capacity of public services with their governments in their respective countries. The PES, as they are, and perhaps that's the whole point of intermediation authorities, they've been able to adapt to be sufficiently agile and flexible. And if you're not flexible, if you're not agile, you really are going to lose ground at world level. If you do not follow the pace of the movement on the markets, you are going to be set aside and you will lose your influence. Now, I would like to talk about 4 major challenges for our PES today. We should prepare to manage these challenges. The first of all is there's the issue of trust. Trust is our main motto. Whether the service is delivered online or face-to-face or via an automated system, when you use AI, big data, where human intervention is greatly reduced, well then trust should remain, and it's up to we need to legitimize the existence of the intermediary. If you don't, then trust the intermediary, he won't exist. You have engineers, you have public action engineers, you have operators, and of course that means that trust in ourselves should be well preserved. And consolidated. Now, the PES must also be transparent, and that's where trust comes from. Transparency is our motto, is our central motto in practice, in processes, and particularly in relation to the use of data which are given to us. These are personal data, these are human beings' data, who very often are in a very difficult situation because they've lost their job, or for the first job seekers, for the first time that job seekers start taking a job, they are experiencing psychological difficulties in positioning themselves in society. So these data must be dealt with and preserved with the human dimension in mind. These are human beings who are in difficulties, and then essentially they must aim towards consolidated our services for our users and employers. We mustn't have a situation where this tool is used as an instrument to get rid of this job seeker, of this user. You don't want the user to think, oh, you're sending me back to a machine because you don't want to deal with me. So this is something that's a compromise that we need to deal with. It's not a question of facilitating work. It's an avenue of research, of looking to do better. The second challenge is competency, skills. The heart of the competencies, of the skills of our counselors, of our consultants, is not the way they master the system. It's their capacity to deal with the person who is presenting themselves. So the idea is to continue developing culture and skills development in relation to our core business, but in relation to the transformation of our services. And above all, we need to improve the relationship or to concentrate on the relationship with our users. They are our raison d'être, our reason to exist. And, our users really are our bosses, our managers. And digitalization must not change the quality of the relationship with our users. So, we need to know their needs. We need to understand their requirements. If the machine cannot translate the nature of a need, then a human being must be there as an interface. It mustn't be the interface of the machine, but it must be a receptacle at the moment of the input into the machine. We must absolutely think of the human dimension, so that these tools are an opportunity to enlarge enlarge and deepen our field of action. It is the case in Morocco, and directive was to take advantage of digitalization in order to increase the coverage of our services, not to transform the content of this service. I must do things better, not do more. This is something that we must be very watchful of. I know you're aware of that, but I'd like to remind you of this, because in our associations we are the guardian of the fundamental basic elements of our missions in the respective countries members of our association. We also think, we also see ourselves through the various
and our essential instrument is advice. We need experts in entrepreneurship to help job seekers, so human beings need to remain at the heart of our machine production. And of course, we need to listen to companies and their expectations in terms of human resources. Our basic mission, which has been assigned to us by our governments, is to contribute to the fight against unemployment. And it is right that our teams should be mobilized around this very noble and human mission. Perhaps more today than previously, we need to help upskill the job seekers, and the community of intermediaries. Public employment services should be recognized everywhere throughout the world for their expertise. And so we need to carry on doing within our PES, do everything we can to upskill the job seekers and our colleagues. This should be a priority. And we also use multi-channels, of course, and the digital tool. We shouldn't forget this. And certainly within the ANAPEC, we have introduced a service, a platform for our users, but we should use it ourselves internally. And the third challenge is data quality. After all, we are moving towards artificial intelligence, towards big data, and so the truthfulness of data, the faithful image of reality given by data should be ensured, and this should be based in part on the first pillar I spoke of, trust, and we should be able to rely on the data. And the fourth challenge, as Madame AVILA indicated, is that the adoption of technology should be aligned to a global strategy. It is not technology that should define our strategy. It is the other way around. And so those were a few words of caution that I wish to express. I should like to congratulate and thank once again all the speakers and ANETI, the Director General of ANETI, the whole team of the Secretariat, the experts, the moderators, and I hope that we will see each other very soon, face to face. So we'll see you very soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Well, thank you, Mr. Abdel Moumin El Madani, President of WAPES and Director General of ANAPEC. Thank you very much for your words of friendship and the open invitation. We are preaching, of course, digital transformation, but of course it is essential that we be able to meet also in person to cooperate and improve that cooperation. And as you said, when we talk about upskilling, we need to consolidate, to capitalize on what we have, and we can only applaud those efforts. So those are the challenges of the PES in times of accelerated digital transformation. So organized by the National Agency for Employment and Self-Employment of Tunisia, ANETI, with the World Association of Public Employment Services. I hope that you found this webinar interesting and provided useful information for all the actors, which we hope are virtuous and actors. So thank you very much. We will see you very soon, we hope. Thank you to all the technicians and the whole team that enabled us to organize this webinar. And I would like to thank also, of course, all the speakers, wherever they happen to be, but this is the magic of technology, which means that we can meet in